let's really get into that. So with Jessel and Pavitt, I feel like unless Jessel's coming to the group saying, he's not wearing his wedding ring and we're not having sex, I'm worried. She's never let on any worry. She's shared and she's been vulnerable, but she's never came to them with like, oh, this is a problem. So I think you have to let them be. And hey. That was fun, right? Going back to, we love a Watch What Happens Live moment, a virtual caller moment. Thank you very much. Let's get back into one more thing that sort of became something that got ramped up within the episode. And that was Ubah, because Ubah also came to Jessel's photo shoot, which I thought was a really good use of your friends. You've got Jenna Lyons, this creative director, a wonderful, premium location. And then you got Ubah, who is a model who could lend, her expertise as well. And again, I already said, I really enjoyed how it was all put together. Anyways, Ubah comes and shows up. She does not have access to an elevator. So she's in her heels going up and down these stairs, up and down the stairs, which was, of course, a really wonderful comical moment. But then, and here's a question for let's talk amongst ourselves here. What do we think about that? So the criticism that they were, talking about was that the other ladies had said, oh, it was interesting that Pavitt, when asked what makes the perfect union or wife or what, well, first of all, I don't think any of the men really stepped up. Like, I feel like a lot of it was very much self-involved, and not like a selfish way, but like it was all about them. And maybe that was just edited in a certain way, but it wasn't really like, oh, my wife's Sai, she's, warm and a great mother and beautiful. And they said similar and certain things like that. It wasn't like Abe was, Erin. And, when I first struck my eyes to her, I was drawn like a moth to a flame. It was a lot of like, my wife is really wonderful and we are codependent. It's kind of, if we had to be critical, like they weren't as good of bits of commentary as we would have expected, right? And I only say that, I'm not knocking David to Sai because he did say some beautiful things to her, and Abe to Erin because he did say some beautiful things to her also. I'm not knocking it, but I'm saying it wasn't like they were so phenomenal. Sorry, I gotta check the old phone here. It wasn't, always got to see when I'm booked and busy, baby. It wasn't like they were so wonderful in what they said. And Pavitt was like, she lets me do whatever. I run over her because you know what? Here's the thing. I think Jessel runs the tightest of ships. I mean, I think they all do, but like Jessel and Pavitt's relationship is so funny. So for everyone to have this conversation that was going around the circle, like, oh, yeah, they're talking about you, Jessel. They're saying that they thought what Pavitt said was not really complimentary to you. It's like, I don't really think any of the men said anything that magical. Or am I wrong? I could have watched it differently. Anyways, let me get to the question and the lecture at hand. My thing is, I don't really ever try to get in anyone's relationship because I do think they are all different. Some have like, some are open, okay, some have developed in very interesting times, okay, and so I really feel like you got to let everyone do what works for them. Now, it would be different if, I'm trying to think here, it would be different if like Jessel was coming to the group and saying, oh my gosh, and this, and he's not making me feel special, and we're having this problem. I mean, she said we're not having sex, but she didn't say it was like a problem for them. They were like good, and they would figure it out. They were okay. She was being vulnerable. She shared, and it was like something that they turned against her. So I think unless this is just how I try to operate, and I'm going to move on because I'm over here just yipping and yapping, and I said I was going to talk very quickly and be done with the episode, and already. Oh, it happens every episode. The curse of being amazing. You know what I mean? I'm so good. So good and so experienced. Have I shown you how wonderful I am? Oh, look at, he has been working. Oh my gosh, what a career. I tell you, that randomly Ronnie Jr. Everybody loves him. Everybody loves him. No, I don't know if everyone loves him. But let's really get into that. So with Jessel and Pavitt, I feel like unless Jessel's coming to the group saying, he's not wearing his wedding ring and we're not having sex, I'm worried. She's never let on any worry. She's shared and she's been vulnerable, but she's never came to them with like, oh, this is a problem. So I think you have to let them be. And I don't know how much they remember of this, but if you remember from the beginning, she said, did she say this to the confessional? Maybe she said this just to the confessional. We have been friends prior. We weren't even really interested in a relationship on that level. That's not what we were going for. But sometimes when friends, are so good together, the sparks do fly. And I think it was like her mom or something that recommended, like, I don't know, you guys might really work together. And so I think when that happens and that's the foundation, that is the structure in which they are built as a relationship, I think things are going to be different. They're not going to be the same way as Abe and Erin's relationship or as David and Sai's relationship. But again, single and sexy that I am, I'm going to let people do what they got to do relationship wise. But the question though, the question then became, if Pavitt doesn't wear a wedding ring, is it something to be alarmed by? And then Ubah says, well, let me tell you something. When a man wears a wedding ring, that's like the first class. Speaking of first class, that's like the first class trip for like, some of the floozies to be drawn to these types of men or whatever. So I'm not going to weigh in on it. I'm just wondering what everyone thinks of wearing a wedding ring or not. I think it has to be a boundary that is set within who you are. I know many relationships and couples where there will be somebody who doesn't necessarily wear it. I not married. I don't really I don't really have stuff on my hands. So I guess if I got married, I would have to wear it, right? I just think relationships are so different. People sadly get cheated on, but stay with the person, and everyone is different. Some are preserving the family, which I don't necessarily agree, but to each their own on how to do it. So I don't know, getting into her business, it really just opened up Jessel to be like the star of the show. I must say. Can I play real quick as we're going through this episode? Still one of the moments that was the funniest to me on this show. This moment is when I was like, Real Housewives in New York, new era, though it's not like the biggest buzz, it was still a good season. And early on, I think this was episode number 2. This is when I knew we got a good show going.
I'm so sorry. I don't want to be Debbie Downer here. My grandmother was 94, but it happened really fast. She went into hospice and she died within 24 hours. So it's still hard.
I didn't know, so yeah. That's really unfortunate. I hope that today went well, though.
Yeah, it was fun.
Sai. Oh my God, thank you.
As good as it can go. Yeah, I had so much fun. Thanks for asking. It was a great success and a dandy old time.
Still funny to me. Still funny. So there's a lot of talk throughout the episode. We get a moment with Erin and Sai, and this is when Erin learns that Sai is starting to spill the beans, because the word that's going around is, well, did David say something a little inappropriate with the, at Swingers when they were at the restaurant, the golf location? He was like, you're so wonderful, Ubah. Why are you not dating? And I think I said that on the last recap. I was like, I don't know if that's really the right comment, because it does. And this would be for a man to a woman, or a woman to a man, or, whatever relationship it is. It would be even to me. Ronnie, you're so amazing. Yes, thank you. I am. Why are you single? It's like, you can't you could be happy in your relationship and you could have the encouragement, because I do think David had the encouragement, and later in the episode he did apologize, which I thought was really wonderful. This is what we want to see. We want to see conversations. We want to see growth. We want to see growth. And I do think it was a little bit of a good intention with the, oh, you're so amazing, Ubah, but you're single. What's the problem? Like, it does look a little off, but I do like the way that it kind of backtracked and was, David was very grown with that. I thought, and I didn't think Ubah was that mad or whatever, but these were some of the words that were kind of going around, which accidentally, and I do believe it to be an accident, it gave Sai this accidental permission to abandon the secret, which is like, listen, Erin, Ubah's gonna be fine. In fact, she's with somebody right now. Oh, and it was so hard, yet so good to watch. As a fan of the show, you're like, no, you can't do that. But it was an accident. So you're like, totally like, oh my God, Sai did not do that on purpose, and it was, I mean, we could get to at the end of the episode what we even think about her holding back the relationship. Actually, we'll talk about it now because on Watch What Happens Live, Jenna Lyons was on the episode with Julia Fox, which, by the way, Julia Fox was way more entertaining than I expected. I really only watched the episode for the great Jenna Lyons. And she made a comment that does make sense, but I still feel like I'm on not one side or the other within this, which is, well, when you choose to date, and Jenna, of course, has a lot to speak on because she's been publicly outed, in a time, and it is important to protect and sort of preserve a relationship until you're willing to kind of take it to the next level. But on one hand, isn't that as much as, and this is what Jenna was sort of saying as Andy Cohen was asking about, what do you think about Ubah keeping it kind of quiet? And so what I'm going to say is this, like, actually, I want to hear the other comments really, but I feel like on one hand, you don't have to share everything. I think there's a notion, it's like, it's reality TV, you got to show everything. No, you don't. You set a boundary. You treat kind of like what Brynn was saying to Jessel, you teach people how to treat you. That may not always work, but you could at least have an intention. These are the kind of things I like to hold close to me. I think that's okay. When it comes to what Jenna was saying is like, listen, we sign up for the show, but the person we're dating doesn't. But I think, isn't that as much as like, everyone has, would it be called baggage, or would it be called baggage? But everyone has a thing. So like, you choose to fall in love with who you fall in love with. And you have to make the assessment like, wow, I really love this person. But because they're on reality TV, maybe that's in my checklist. Maybe that's going to make them a little less appealing to me. And so I think, I don't really know that I feel that much sympathy. If it's a new thing, maybe, but I don't really feel like I feel that much sympathy. Like it's like dating somebody who's aspiring to become a doctor, but the money hasn't really rolled in yet. Like, you make the choice, like, it's going to be hard times, but I'm going to rock out. We fall in love. And then down the road, things will go really wonderful. And, he's got this beautiful mansion and we live a great life. It could be the opposite. He ain't got no money, but he got the good D, the good D. And you're like, well, I like the good D, but he can't take me to nowhere but McDonald's. It's all difficult. And I don't think as an excuse, but it's not an excuse, but I don't think as an excuse, boy, I'm really playing the fence today, aren't I? I don't think as an excuse, you can utilize that. Like, oh, I signed up for the show, that other person didn't. The problem is, if you signed up for the show, you now know that potentially some of your relationships have to be compromised. I think that's what it comes down to, meaning your pool might shrink. That's the same thing with visibility on all levels. The bigger you are, the more visible you are. There's different things that come with that. I do think, and I was having a podcast earlier where we were talking about a lot of like Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. I think there is a little level of sort of likeness works really well, because that way we're all on the same page. So yeah, it is going to be tough. It's always going to be tough for like somebody in the public eye, like a Jenna or Ubah in this case, and somebody not in the public eye. I guess ultimately I'm just really happy for Ubah. So I guess I could look past a lot of that. And I don't want to be like, just have a bias, like, yay, like Ubah's happy. I'm actually really interested. Remember when she said, Ubah hot, tie the knot. I was like, is she going to get married in between seasons? Oh, I would live for that. I would live for like an Ubah comes back episode 1. What's everyone been up to? Oh, I've been doing this. Sai's going to say she's hangry. Brynn's going to be saying she's flirting with somebody. And Ubah's going to be like, look it, I got married. Oh my God. Would that not make the most wonderful season 2 opener? So there's just a lot to think about. I think you are who you are. And the moment you choose to sign up for certain things, things come with it. So I find it hard to have tons of sympathy for that, keeping it a secret. But we'll get to that because then it does kind of erupt later on because Brynn says it, and then of course Sai gets upset or whatnot. What else have we? What else goes on there? Oh, Brynn and Jenna do a little kiss.
Hey, Ronnie Jr.